What's up everybody, Tendo here, and it's time for another game haul video. Normally for my game haul videos, I go to the thrift shop and some game shops, I buy a bunch of video games, and I take you guys with me. Usually, I just buy stuff that I need for my collection, but every now and then, I either find stuff that is a low enough value that it would be great for trade-in, or sometimes I buy sets of stuff and take what I need and then trade the rest in. And so, today, that's what this video is all about. Let's go trade some stuff in that I've got sitting around. Alright, let's run through what I'm taking in for trade real quick. I've already traded most of my Pokemon cards, at least the good ones, in a previous trade haul video. And this is just the stuff that's left over. The first place that I took them to trade ages ago now, just picked everything that was good out of there, like those Pokemon cards there. 90% of them are just energy cards. There's some Yu-Gi-Oh cards there, some World of Warcraft cards. There's this tin full of miniature Pokemon. This is just all stuff I've yet to be able to pawn off. It's just stuff that's been sitting under my couch that I don't really need. So our first stop is to take these cards and this Pokemon stuff, trade them in, and then we'll go to another store to take the rest of this. I got a couple games, a comic book, an in-box Wii, as well as an N64 I picked up at a thrift shop recently. A mobile gaming gear, a set of DVDs. So we're going to take the cards to Zia Records, see how much they'll give us. I'm not expecting much. Zia Records, I almost never trade stuff in there because they give the absolute least out of anybody, but they're the only place I haven't taken these cards to, so I'm going to go there. So while they're looking at the cards to see how much they'll give me, I'm going to look through my favorite part of the store where they just throw all the controllers and stuff in here. And here is a controller I'm going to take a look at. Look through the consoles. Obviously, they're not going to give me console money for those cards, but I like taking a look at everything, seeing what they've put in over the last couple of days. There's an Xbox hard drive for a 360 Slim. And I always am in need of those because every time I buy a 360 Slim, it doesn't have a hard drive in it, but they had like $50 on that one. Just way too much. There's the Game Gear games down there. I always got to check those. I've got most of the ones they have. It's kind of getting to that point, so I don't buy Game Gear games from them too often. This is the lockbox where they put the good stuff. Taking a look through. They don't seem to have restocked in the last couple days. I visit this Zia Records every couple days because I live literally one street over, so I like to be there when they restock stuff. Here's the bottom dollar bins. It's more likely that I buy something out of these. They just put their bottom dollar stuff in these crates and throw them all around the store. You really got to look hard for the bottom dollar stuff. A Japanese copy of Mega Man. That's pretty awesome. PlayStation 1 Shrek game. X-Men game there. $9. A little high for me. This Zia has a habit of, after a while, marking their stuff down to $1 or $2. And it's the only Zia record out of 4 or 5 of them in town that does it. So this is my favorite Zia records. Here's a bottom dollar bin of just completely random stuff. You never know what you're going to find in here. Card reader for the Game Boy. Really random. Right next to a Sega Genesis Mini. Just old controllers. Fight stick for the PlayStation 2. PlayStation 3 ended up, I guess. It's a USB fight stick. I like it. I like those color of arcade buttons. It didn't have very much on it, $2.99. I really should have bought it for as cheap as it was. It's probably still in that box. I might walk over there after this and scoop it up. Alright, time to check out. I did end up buying this controller for $5. It is a Power A aftermarket Wii U Pro controller. Can't beat that for $5. So we got $15 in trade-in. I spent $5 on that controller, and then we went to the next Zia a little ways across town to spend the other $10 of it. $15 was not much for all that, but like I said, it was the picked over stuff. It was stuff that I'd be hard-pressed to even sell on eBay if I wanted to. So I just went ahead and traded in since today was going to be a trade-in day for me. And this Zia is a pretty good one. They've got lots of good stuff in their lock boxes. I don't know why or how, but this one always seems to have some factory-sealed Game Boy or Game Boy Advance games like those two I just walked past. Pretty good deals on their consoles. That Halo Green Xbox is $100 or so, and normally those go for a couple hundred. They seem to price things well above list price. Cappy, very nice. I need one of these for my shelf. Just waiting to find one at a yard sale or something super cheap. Looking through the controllers again, I really wanted to come away today with a wireless PlayStation 1 and 2 controller like that. But I'm looking for one for the right price because, as you just saw, I just spent $5 on that Wii U controller. And then all these controllers are $15 and above. I'm on a long, hard journey to acquire wireless controllers for every system that are good and usable, so I could lay in bed and play all my consoles without cables stretched all the way across the room. It's a hard life, you know. Take a look at the PlayStation 1 games. There's never a lot of PlayStation 1 games here, but it's always worth a look. I always look through them to see if there's anything new. Pong, LOL. And it doesn't look like there's anything I'm going to walk away with today. I don't have a lot to spend. I'm trying to maximize this last $10 before I move on and trade in the next stuff at a different store. Kingdom Hearts figures. Hannah's super into Kingdom Hearts. Look at the excitement. But they were expensive. We didn't buy them. Here's a little nook and cranny they hide stuff in sometimes. You just never know what you're going to find. And I forget all this stuff is just tucked in here. Here's some sort of console, micro console that I'd never even heard of. So many of these out there. It has games in a game store built in. I'm pretty sure it's another one of those that's crashed and no longer heard of. But if you know anything about the Flare gaming console, leave me a comment below and let me know if I should have bought this just for funsies. I thought about buying it and making a video out of it, but I'm here for the Game Gear games. So we're going to get Lion King, Tom and Jerry, and Mortal Kombat. When in doubt, folks, you've got a few dollars to spend at the game store, go for the Game Gear games. I highly recommend them. My Game Gear buying has gotten out of hand. In the last few days alone, I've probably bought about 15 Game Gear games. And I'm just on a roll, folks. I'm on a roll. Look at all this goofy stuff they have right up at the counter. Just, you want it irrationally. Like, I don't know why, but I want some of these rubber feet, and I want to walk around and kick Hannah with my hands. Tiny little collectible figures, grab bag figures. Not really interested, but it's always worth a look. And you never know what random game piece they're just going to stick up on the counter. One of the last old school handheld games, one of those Tiger games I bought, was just sitting on the counter here before we checked out. It was a Power Rangers Tiger game. And look at this. This was really scary. Look at this soda. Buffalo Wing Soda. You'll have to check my page. Hannah and I do a series of episodes called Shark Noms where we try ridiculous and nasty foods and, just die on camera. So you should check that out. All right, we are on to Bookmans now to trade in the rest of the stuff. But just know before we go inside here, it gets a little confusing after this because I actually ended up coming to this Bookmans twice and then going to another Bookmans once. And that's because when I brought this stuff to trade in at this Bookmans, they rejected the Wii. And I stood around and thought about it and thought, well, I'll go home and get another Wii to put in this Wii box that I know works, and I'll trade it in because I was really in the mindset to get some stuff traded in on this day. So I went ahead and drove all the way home and got the other Wii, and I also ended up bringing back an original Xbox to trade in as well just to get even more store credit. I've got like 4 original Xboxes at the moment. So what you see here is the first trip that I went to Bookmans, and I'm looking through everything, and there's the Xbox games, and there was an Xbox 360S hard drive, another one, but it was also really priced like the one earlier. And here's the consoles, some of the other inbox stuff. Top row up there is a bunch of inbox Sega games, and then just a bunch of random electronics in the middle there. And here's the really random electronics box, calculators and all manner of other stuff, memory cards. And this is the PlayStation section, all things PlayStation in there. I like to check the PlayStation 1 games, not really seeing anything. And then here's the Sega stuff. Ooh, the Game Gear. I really have Game Gear on the brain. Give a real quick look to everything else. I love this Bookmans because they have a lot of everything, but for some reason they don't seem to get much new N64 stuff. It looks the exact same as the last time I was there.
So they took an N64, a comic book, and the mobile gaming gear, and they didn't take the Wii because it was refurbished.
How much did we get?
Got $39.50.
So there's Hannah talking about the numbers for the first trip, but that leaves out the numbers for the second trip where we came back and traded in the Xbox and the Wii for a lot more. And here's the Game Gear games that I want. And here's some gaming manuals Hannah found that she wants. So our first trip, we left with this stuff, and we didn't actually buy anything on the second trip. We decided to take the money from the second trip to the other Bookmans. So on this first trip, we're just leaving with about 8 or 9 Game Gear games, as well as those gaming manuals, which was a little less than half of the store credit we got for all of that stuff. Let's see what we got. Shake it up. So let's take our Game Gear games and our gaming manuals and head over to the next Bookmans. This Bookmans is a lot closer to my house. This is probably the one I spend most of my store credit at. And here's the Wii and Wii U stuff. I really want to get that complete Wii U collection before it gets even harder to get. But those games are still so much money. I don't like spending that much money on them, but I am trying. All right, move on to the lock boxes. Bunch of electronics once more. Just never know what you'll find in there. And this arcade machine in the bottom left that you put your iPad in that I'm pointing at, that is an arcade machine I've bought at a thrift store and harvested arcade buttons from before. That's what I'm pointing at it for, telling Hannah about it. I actually have a series of videos I'm making about my arcade machine build, so I'll leave a link below to that. Definitely go check it out if you haven't watched that already. But I'm just checking out the rest of the games in the lockbox. There's quite a bit less of them in this Bookmans compared to the other Bookmans that you just saw, but for some reason they still end up having better quality games at this one. Really random, but that's what I've come to find. But I'm just checking the rest of the store for anything else I might want. I had a really tough time on this trip to Bookmans because there was quite a bit I wanted. Case in point, this copy of Monster Ranchers 2, best Monster Ranchers game ever, one I've been looking for a while. I found 2 copies of it on this day, so I took them up front and had the guys let me look at the insides so I could pick the better one. And then this Super Advantage, I've always wanted one of those, so I snatched that up as well. And then I always check the PlayStation 2 games specifically for Dynasty Warriors games that I don't have because I only have about half of them. There's like 24. There's so many of these. And I didn't have Dynasty Warriors 6, so I was very happy to grab that as well. All right, everybody, we are back in the game room. We're going to go ahead and jump into everything that I got today. Pretty good haul, I think. Let's start off with a gaming manual. Little Big Planet Superbook. I thought this was hilarious because there was a regular one that was pretty much the same thing minus a little extra content. And then there was the Superbook. So, of course, I got the Superbook. Another gaming manual, Little Big Planet carding. I picked these up because we actually have our hands on every single Little Big Planet game except for the PSP one. And we're going to do a series on those coming up. So definitely hit the subscribe button on that because that's going to be well worth your time. So 2 gaming manuals. I got a controller. This is, let's go ahead and open it. I left it bagged up so I could show you. It took me a minute to figure out what it is, but it's a tiny little mini wireless Wii U controller. Now, I have a regular Wii U Pro controller, and that's what I'm going to use. And I just figured this was cheap. It was $5, which I thought was crazy for a wireless controller, rechargeable controller at that. But yeah, $5. It is tiny. It is way too small for my hands. Look at this. Compared to that. Look how small that is. It's incredible. Stack them up. Considerably smaller, but $5, can't pass it up. I've got an extra Wii U wireless controller. All right, I got a PlayStation 1 game and a PlayStation 2 game. Let's start with the PlayStation 2 game, Dynasty Warriors 6. I have a haul video. It was also a trade-in video from a little while back where I bought a lot of Dynasty Warrior games, and this is just one I didn't have, Dynasty Warriors 6. But what's funny about that is it seems like a third of one of those shelves behind me is Dynasty Warrior games, and I'm nowhere near having even half of them yet, so that's kind of funny. Another series that we're going to do a series on, Monster Rancher. This is actually going to be the first one of that series that I'm going to do. And that's great because one of the few games for the Monster Rancher series that I was missing is Monster Ranchers 2. I don't know if you guys remember this game at all, but man, I played it when I was a kid and it changed my life. It actually took my mind off of Pokemon in 1997, which is really saying something. But this disc is in great shape. I actually have found this a couple times at this same store, and it's always been scratched and in terrible condition, and finally I found a great copy. Very, very happy to have this one. Actually, funny enough, right before I hit record on this video, I ordered a copy of a Game Boy Advanced Monster Rancher game, so I'm ready to go. I'm ready to make a nice long series about that game. You guys need to hit the subscribe button so you can check that one out too. Alright, that's not all. The last thing is a big fat stack of Game Gear games. I am working really hard to get to a complete Game Gear collection as soon as I can. I'm not too many in. I probably have around 50 games. I don't exactly know what the number is off the top of my head, a little less than 50. But I do have a link to the spreadsheet where I keep track of all of this. If you want to check that out down below, you can keep up with where I'm at. And I think it's worth clicking on, because if you watch it now and then click on it a little bit later, I think you'll be surprised how quick I get to this complete collection. Because I'm just buying them up. There doesn't seem to be too many super rare ones, so it's pretty easy for me to knock out all the hard stuff. So let's go ahead and run through everything I got. All right, so the first one is Desert Speed Trap. Little Looney Tunes action there. Definitely be trying that one out soon. Next is Deep Duck Trouble with Donald Duck. And then Mortal Kombat. It's awesome. Can't wait to play that one too. Spider-Man. Man, I can't tell you how much I love Game Gear games. And then this one was a little bit confusing. It's Jungle Book, but I already had a Jungle Book game for Game Gear. This one's just a different title, and I have yet to be able to figure out on the internet what the difference between the two is. If you just happen to come across this video and you're a Game Gear specialist, comment below, explain to me what that difference is, because I sure can't figure it out. Lion King. The mystery series that I'm talking about doing, I keep talking about it in a lot of videos that I'm going to start doing soon once I get my hands on all the games I want to do those series about. It was a missed opportunity not doing this one when the Lion King movie just came out a little less than a month ago. Should have done that, but too late. X-Men Games Masters Legacy. This is the third and final X-Men game for the Game Gear that I didn't have, so I now have all the X-Men Game Gear games. Awesome. And then Batman Forever. This ought to be good. The Chess Master. Is that just a chess game? We'll find out. I'm going to play every one of these. I will play every Game Gear game to see what it's all about. There's not a ton of them compared to other systems. There's a nice solid number of Game Gear games. Tom and Jerry, the movie. Super into that. The artwork on these is great. And then, last, not least, Jurassic Park. Can't wait to see what that one's like. So how many Game Gear games was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 Game Gear games. 2 disc games. 2 gamer manuals. And a controller. So what do you guys think? Was that a good haul? Was it worth it for what I traded in? I know I could sell the stuff and get a lot more value out of it, but this is quick turnover, and I'm not losing any money. Not really. Let me know in the comments below what you guys like the most. Let me know in the comments below if you saw anything I was looking through that I missed that maybe I should have bought instead. And most importantly, guys, hit that like and subscribe button and hit that bell notification so that in the future when I post these videos, you'll know that I've posted them. You can come back then and hang out with me. And until then, guys, peace out.
Hey, I'm a shark with a top hat, and I think you should subscribe. Go ahead, hit the button. I'll wait. Okay, bye.